So my house is super fucking paranormal, and this is the first incident I had. So in 6th grade, I had 3 friends over and we were playing hide and go seek. So I hid in the pantry and there's no way anybody could hear me. There's no vents and I wasn't even talking. So I'm sitting there like, cause like I wanted the wind to fuck. So I'm sitting in there and 10 minutes pass and I hear my friends talking downstairs. So I go down there and I'm like, did y'all give up? And they look at me and they're like, we thought you were in the crawl space. I was like, no. They were like, no, we were literally talking to somebody in the crawl space. And they said like it was this little girl like asking for help and shit. So I get freaked out and I'm like looking around, I'm like, what the fuck? And around 2 minutes later, the doorknob to the crawl space starts going like this, like shaking and shit. So I literally had a heart attack and I was like, okay, we're leaving. So we grabbed all of our shit, we grabbed my dog and we went in front of the house. I called my dad crying. I was like, there's something in this fucking house. And he was like, no, the fuck there's not. So he gets home, he checks the house. He's like, y'all are stupid. Like there's no shit here. But we all heard it and we all saw the doorknob shake. And it only got worse from then.
If me and my sister ever put our elbows on the dinner table, my mom would take a fork and stab us in the arm. On Thanksgiving, I put my elbow on the table and she stabbed me with the fork and she told me I wasn't allowed to have Thanksgiving dinner that night and I had to go to my room. Well, payback's a bitch. My mom got food poisoning from the turkey because she accidentally baked it with the plastic in it. But guess who didn't get food poisoning because they didn't eat the turkey? That's what you get, bitch!
Okay, so put a finger down if you put your boyfriend on your Snapchat story and tag him, and then a girl from your story adds him and then starts to Snapchat him when he's leaving her on bread, and then continues to Snapchat him, and then you post a picture on your Instagram thinking you're all cute and shit, and she posts the exact same picture, but it's her, and then sends that picture to your boyfriend on Snapchat, and then he blocks her, because this is very weird now. And then she goes on his Instagram and then likes one of his pictures from a year ago, and then he blocks her on Instagram, so she goes and follows me on TikTok. And I post a TikTok with him, and that's the only TikTok of mine that she likes. And then you post your nails on your Instagram story, and she goes and gets the same nails as you. And then you go on her Instagram, and she dyed her hair black. Is that weird, or is it just me?
Excuse me? You're going to hell for that.
Okay, fine.
Did you hear me? I said you're going to hell for that.
Cool. See you there.
How dare you say something like that to me? You need to take off that mask right now and go get a disposable one. How dare you show that off in front of our children? I have kids.
I'm wearing a mask that's protecting me and protecting you. I don't see why I have to go get a disposable one. Also, ma'am, can you please put yours on?
Give me that. You just assaulted me. Security! Look at her mask. She can't have this in a public area.
Girl, I love your mask. Where'd you get it? Can I get one?
Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
So, at the Korean nursery school I worked at, I taught my kids in English. Yes, I can speak Korean. I've been studying it for 4 years, but I was there as an English teacher. But the power move of the century is that I can understand everything they're saying. One time my kids were playing like a cops and robbers type situation, and like obviously I had to be the villain. They'd run around and chase me, and then eventually I would just go, "You guys caught me!" So they'd catch me, but then all of a sudden one of my kids, Alvin, just goes, "선생님 왜 이렇게 너무 약해요? 이건 너무 쉬운데." All of a sudden it just became a group thing. All my kids were like, "맞아, 이거 너무 재미없어. 그래, 우리 다른 게임 하자. 라일락 선생님 훨씬 더 센데." Like the English teacher in me is not supposed to understand what they're saying, but I'm a little bit offended. Game on, you 3-year-olds. So then all of a sudden I'd just be like, 선생님 약한다고? 다시 하자. And then my kids obviously would just be like, 한국말 어떻게 이해했는데? 우리 망했다. I'll show them.
Storytime Tinder edition. Okay, the story blew up on Twitter like a while ago, but I'm just gonna retell it because it's very informational. So there was this guy and this girl, and they met through Tinder, and then they met up and they went on this date. And they were out at dinner, and then she starts not feeling so well. And then she says, I really need to go home. And he says, yeah, I'll drive you home. And she says, okay. So then they get to her house, and then she starts feeling better. So then she says, do you want to come in for some coffee? And then he says, yeah, sure. So they go inside, they have their coffee, and then she doesn't feel well again. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't feel well again. I think you really need to leave. And he's like, okay. And he leaves. And then she goes to bed, and in the middle of the night, she wakes up and she hears this noise down in her kitchen. And so she locks her door and she calls the cop. And the 911 operator is just on the other line saying, can you just stay on the line until the cops get there? And then the cops get there and they're like, the door is locked. Like, we don't think anyone's inside. And she's like, I promise you, someone's inside my house. I can hear them. She says, you have my permission to break down the door. So she's still up in her room, and then she hears the cops break down the door. And then she hears some rustling and some fighting. Part 2 coming now.
You know what I miss most about gay clubbing right now? All the drama. Like, once my crush invited me to the club with his gay friends, and what happened was I tried kissing him at the club and he swerves me. I'm like, are we making TikToks now, bitch? Because why are you swerving me? Because it didn't make sense, because we would always make out at school, you know? So why is it a problem at the club in front of your friends? Like, are you ashamed of me, or am I not good enough for you now? I was pretty upset by that, but I didn't say anything. 10 minutes after, his best friend makes a move on me, and then we make out. And then my crush gets like super pissed off. He gets so mad. He's such a petty person. He's always like, I'm a Scorpio, it's my nature. Fuck off. Anyways, what happens after? He calls a person to the club last minute, thinking he's gonna make out with this guy in front of me to spite me. And what happens instead? This guy comes, compliments me, and then we make out.
I have beef with an 11-year-old right now. So in April, I posted this video of me on a scooter, and today, in June, I wake up to this comment. I don't think that's what skating is, but okay. So I went to his profile, and there was a video of him playing with a knife. So I mimicked his comment, and I was like, I don't think that's how you use knives, but okay. And then there's another comment saying, what are you doing with a knife? And he said, it was from last night. I had to cut something. So he replied to my comment saying, who said I was using it? And I was like, you said you were using it to cut something. So then he duets one of my videos where I'm like getting fake AirPods, and he duets it with him wearing his real AirPods. So on his duet, I said, ugh, I love my fans. I'll update this if anything else happens.
People go, Zach, you don't have favorites in your kids. The fuck I don't. Here's my oldest and my youngest. Here's the big difference and why I love the oldest the most. She breaks an $8 lamp from Walmart. You would have thought she shot me at point blank range. She's shaking and crying, and I'm like, honey, it's okay. Like, you were chasing the dog, shit happens. My youngest, that little psychopath, comes up to me butt ass naked and goes, Dad, I pooped behind the couch. What the fuck? You walked downstairs, took your pants off, took your pull-up off, Haji squatted down and shit behind the couch that you had to move to get your fat little ass behind. And she was like, what are we gonna do? I had to go literally pick up human shit with a plastic bag like she's a fucking animal. That's premeditated shitting in the house. She passed 2 bathrooms on her way down there. Psychopath. Least favorite. Number 2 out of fucking 2.
Yeah, why are you picking me up? Where's my mom? She's real busy today, so it's just me. Want to get some Arby's on the way home? Hell yeah, I want some Arby's. Mom, what are you doing? Hurry up and go pack. I'm leaving your dad. What are you